Before my first cruise, I thought my cabin was just a place to sleep, but I quickly realized there were a few surprises I wasn't expecting. From hidden storage spaces to tricky air conditioning, there are some things I wish I had known before I stepped on board. In this video, I'll share 15 important tips about cruise cabins that will help you have a smoother, more comfortable trip. Let's get started. Number 1. Cruise ship TVs have very limited channels. Every cruise cabin comes with a television, but if you're expecting the same variety of channels as you have at home, you might be disappointed. Cruise ship TVs offer very few options, and most of them are directly related to the cruise itself. Instead of dozens of entertainment and news networks, you'll find a mix of ship cameras, promotional videos, and limited regular programming. Most cruise lines provide a few basic channels, which often include 1 or 2 news stations, an international ESPN feed, a travel or lifestyle channel like HGTV, and a couple of movie channels. However, the selection is far more restricted than what you'd find in a hotel. Instead, many channels are dedicated to cruise-related content such as information about onboard activities, shopping promotions, and safety reminders. Some ships even have a channel that streams a live view from the front of the ship, which can be fun to check throughout your trip. If you enjoy watching TV before bed or during downtime in your cabin, the best way to ensure you have entertainment is to download your favorite shows and movies before your cruise. If your ship offers Wi-Fi and streaming capabilities, you may be able to use services like Netflix or Disney+, but internet speeds at sea can be slow and unreliable. Planning ahead will help you avoid frustration and ensure that you have something to watch whenever you want to relax in your room. Number 2. Cruise ship cabins are smaller than you might expect. When you first walk into your cruise cabin, you might be surprised by how compact it is. While there's enough room for a couple of people to move around comfortably, adding more passengers can make it feel pretty tight. However, cruise lines maximize every inch of space to make sure the cabin is both functional and comfortable. One of the most interesting things about cruise cabins is that most are designed to sleep at least 3 people, even if they look like they only have 1 bed. The extra sleeping spots are often hidden in clever ways. In many cabins, the couch transforms into a bed at night. Your room steward will remove the cushions and set it up with fresh sheets and blankets while you're out enjoying the ship. Some rooms even have pull-down bunk beds that fold away into the ceiling or the wall during the day, giving you extra space when you're not sleeping. Even though cruise cabins are small, they are designed for efficiency. Every piece of furniture serves a purpose, and storage areas are built to help you stay organized. If you're traveling with a group or family, it helps to unpack your luggage and store suitcases under the bed to make the most of the space. While your cabin might not be the biggest room you've ever stayed in, it's designed to be cozy, comfortable, and practical. Through all, you'll be spending most of your time exploring the ship and enjoying your cruise. Your cabin is simply your private retreat at the end of a fun-filled day. Number 3. Cruise cabins have mini fridges, but they don't get very cold. Most cruise ship cabins come with a small mini fridge, but if you're expecting it to keep your drinks ice cold, you might be disappointed. Unlike standard refrigerators at home, these mini fridges are designed to keep items cool rather than truly cold. In fact, some cruise lines even place a small sign inside the fridge warning passengers that it is meant for cooling, not refrigeration. These mini fridges are useful for storing bottled water, soda, or leftover snacks, but they won't keep perishable items fresh for long. If you have medication or other items that need to stay extra cold, it's a good idea to bring a small insulated bag and request a bucket of ice from your room steward. They will happily refresh it throughout your trip to help keep your items chilled. On some cruise lines, the mini fridge may come pre-stocked with a mini-bar selection of snacks and drinks, which are available for purchase. If you'd rather use the fridge for your own items, you can ask your room steward to clear it out at the start of your trip. While the mini fridge won't freeze anything or keep drinks ice cold, it's still a convenient spot to store refreshments during your cruise. If you need something colder, ice is always available from your steward or at self-serve stations around the ship. Number 4. Cruise cabins have more storage than you think. Cruise ship cabins may be compact, but they are designed to make the most of every inch of space. While at first glance it may seem like there's barely enough room for your belongings, there are actually several built-in storage areas that can help you stay organized during your trip. One of the largest storage areas is the closet, which typically includes hanging space, shelves, and sometimes even a small safe for valuables. In addition to the closet, most cabins have a large desk or vanity with multiple drawers that can be used for clothing, accessories, or personal items. The bathroom also provides plenty of shelving for toiletries, making it easy to keep everything within reach. One of the best hidden storage spots is under the bed. Cruise ship beds are designed to sit about 18 inches off the ground, creating the perfect space to slide suitcases underneath once you've unpacked. This helps free up valuable floor space and keeps your cabin from feeling cluttered. To make the most of your storage, it's a good idea to unpack your suitcase early in the trip and organize your belongings in the closet and drawers. By taking advantage of these built-in storage spaces, you can keep your cabin neat and comfortable, even in a smaller room. Number 5. Leaving the balcony door open can create a wind tunnel effect. If you have a balcony cabin, you might be tempted to leave the door open to enjoy the fresh ocean breeze. While this sounds like a great idea, it can actually create an unexpected and powerful wind tunnel inside your cabin, especially if the main cabin door is also open at the same time. Here's what happens. When both the balcony door and the hallway door are open, the difference in air pressure between the inside of the ship and the outside ocean air causes a sudden rush of wind through your room. This can slam doors shut, send loose papers flying, and even knock over small items. Many first-time cruisers experience this without realizing what's happening, and it can be startling if you're not expecting it. To avoid this, always close the balcony door before opening the cabin door, or at least hold on to any lightweight objects if both are open at the same time. Some cruise lines have even installed automatic locks on balcony doors to prevent them from being left open for too long, as it can also affect the ship's air conditioning system. While fresh air is great, keeping the balcony door shut when moving in and out of your cabin will help prevent any sudden gusts of wind from turning your room into a mini hurricane. Number 6. Luxury suites are significantly more expensive. Not all cruise cabins are the same. While most passengers stay in standard interior, ocean view, or balcony cabins, there is another level of luxury available for those willing to pay the price. Cruise ships offer high-end suites that are much larger and come with exclusive perks, but they can cost 5 times or more than a regular stateroom. For example, while a standard balcony room on a week-long cruise might cost around $2,000, a suite that is only twice the size could cost $10,000 or more. These suites often feature separate bedrooms, spacious living areas, walk-in closets, and private dining spaces. Some of the most extravagant suites even include hot tubs on the balcony, floor-to-ceiling windows, and massive wraparound views of the ocean. Beyond having more space, suite guests also receive VIP treatment. Many luxury cabins come with special benefits such as priority boarding and disembarkation, access to private lounges and dining areas, complimentary drink packages, specialty dining, and onboard Wi-Fi. Some even include concierge service or a private butler to handle reservations and special requests. While these accommodations offer a high level of comfort and convenience, they come at a significant cost. For the same amount of money, a traveler could take multiple cruises in a standard cabin instead of spending it all on one trip in a suite. For those seeking a luxury experience, the extra space and special privileges may be worth it. However, for travelers focused on getting the best value, a standard room still provides full access to the ship's amenities without the hefty price tag. Number 7. Eating and drinking in your cabin is completely allowed. One of the best things about cruising is the endless food and drink options available throughout the ship. From buffets to specialty restaurants and poolside bars, there's always something delicious to try. But what if you just want to enjoy a meal or a drink in the comfort of your own cabin? Unlike some hotels that discourage eating in the room, cruise lines fully allow and even encourage it. If you're grabbing a bite from the buffet but prefer a quieter setting, you can take your plate back to your cabin to eat on your bed, at the desk, or even on your private balcony if you have one. Many cruise ships also offer room service, so you can order food straight to your room if you don't feel like going out. Some cruise lines even provide free room service for certain meals, while others may charge a small fee for late-night orders. Drinks are also allowed in your cabin, whether it's a morning coffee, a soda from the buffet, or a cocktail from the bar. Some travelers like to bring their own wine or soft drinks, depending on the cruise line's policies. Your mini fridge can keep beverages cool, though it may not be as cold as a standard refrigerator. If you need something extra chilled, you can always ask your room steward for a bucket of ice. Having the option to eat and drink in your cabin gives you a nice break from the crowds and allows you to enjoy your food in a more relaxed setting. Whether you're unwinding after a long day or just want to sip your morning coffee while watching the ocean, your cabin is the perfect spot to do it. Number 8. Most people don't use their balcony as much as they expect. Having a private balcony on a cruise sounds like a dream. Waking up to breathtaking ocean views, sipping coffee while watching the sunrise, or spending hours relaxing in the fresh sea air. While balconies are definitely a great upgrade, many passengers don't use them as much as they think they will. First, you'll probably step outside to admire the view, but after the excitement wears off, you might find yourself only using the balcony for a few minutes at a time. Most people spend their days exploring the ship, enjoying activities, lounging by the pool, or going on excursions. By the time they return to their cabin, they may only step onto the balcony briefly before heading to dinner or getting ready for bed. A good way to decide if a balcony is worth the extra cost is to consider the length of your cruise. On shorter trips, where you'll be busy with onboard entertainment and ports of call, a balcony might not get much use. However, on longer cruises, especially ocean crossings or itineraries with lots of sea days, having a private outdoor space can be a nice retreat. Balcony cabins are still a fantastic choice, but if you're on a budget, you might want to ask yourself, will I really use it enough to justify the cost? For some travelers, the answer is yes. For others, the ship's open decks offer plenty of scenic views, making an interior or ocean view cabin a better value. Number 9. Cruise ship cabins are designed to be low maintenance. When you step into your cruise cabin, you might not think about how much effort goes into keeping it looking clean and fresh for every new guest. Unlike a regular hotel room or your home, cruise ship cabins are designed to handle constant use with minimal upkeep. One of the biggest differences is that there's no painted surfaces inside the cabin. Paint can easily get scratched, chipped, or damaged by moisture, which is common at sea. Instead, the walls, ceiling, and doors are made of metal with a durable, wipeable finish. This makes it easy for the crew to clean and maintain the room between guests. Another clever design feature is the built-in lighting and furniture. Most of the light fixtures are either recessed into the ceiling or attached securely to the walls. This prevents damage and makes cleaning easier. Even the furniture is designed to be sturdy and simple, reducing the chances of wear and tear from thousands of passengers using it over time. One of the most important parts of a cruise cabin is the bathroom, and these are built to be extremely efficient and easy to maintain. Unlike a regular home bathroom, many cruise ship bathrooms are designed to handle moisture well, even if they get completely wet. In some cases, the entire bathroom could flood, and as long as the water doesn't reach the carpet outside, it wouldn't cause major damage. The materials used are resistant to mold and mildew, which helps keep everything fresh and clean for every passenger. Next time you're in your cruise cabin, take a moment to appreciate the smart design choices that make it both comfortable for you and easy for the crew to clean. These small details help ensure that your room is fresh, functional, and ready for adventure every time you set sail. Number 10. Thermostats on older ships may not actually control the temperature. Most cruise ship cabins come with a thermostat that allows guests to adjust the temperature in their room. On newer ships, this usually works just like it does in a hotel. You turn the dial or press a button, and within a few minutes you can feel the air conditioning kick in. However, on older ships, the thermostat may not actually control the temperature as much as you think. Many passengers have noticed that no matter how much they adjust the thermostat, the room stays the same temperature for hours. In some cases, the cabin might feel too warm during the day and freezing cold at night, even when the controls haven't been touched. This has led many travelers to believe that on older ships, the air conditioning is controlled centrally, rather than individually for each cabin. If you find that your room is too warm or too cold and adjusting the thermostat isn't helping, there are a few things you can try. First, check the air vent to make sure it isn't blocked by luggage or curtains. If that doesn't work, you can ask your room steward if they can make an adjustment or bring you an extra blanket if it's too chilly. Some guests also bring a small portable fan to help circulate the air, especially if they prefer a cooler sleeping environment. While newer ships have more responsive climate control, older ships might not give you as much control over your cabin temperature as you'd expect. Temperature is a big concern for you. It may be worth researching how modern the ship is before booking your cruise. Number 11. Cruise cabins have multiple light switches, including by the bed. Cruise ship cabins are designed to be as convenient as possible, and one feature that many people don't expect is the placement of multiple light switches throughout the room. While most of the main switches are located near the entrance, you will often find additional controls right next to the bed. This small detail makes it much easier to turn lights on or off without having to get up, especially at night or early in the morning. These bedside switches typically control a small reading lamp, but on some ships they can also turn on all the cabin lights at once. This can be helpful when getting up in the morning, but it can also be surprisingly bright if you aren't expecting it. Many first-time cruisers have made the mistake of hitting the wrong switch, only to be suddenly blinded by every light in the room. To avoid any surprises, it's a good idea to test the light switches when you first get to your cabin. Find out which ones control specific lights so that you don't accidentally turn on the brightest setting when you're just trying to switch on a small lamp. Understanding how your cabin's lighting works will make your stay more comfortable and help you avoid any early morning wake-up shocks. Number 12. Your cruise cabin was occupied just hours before you arrived. It might feel like your cabin is your own personal space for the duration of your cruise, but what many people don't realize is that just hours before you arrived, someone else was staying in the exact same room. Unlike hotels where guests check in and out at different times throughout the day, cruise ships operate on a much tighter schedule. One group of passengers leaves in the morning, and by the afternoon, a whole new group has already checked in. This means that your bed, bathroom, and even the furniture were being used by other guests just that morning. However, cruise lines have cleaning crews that work quickly and efficiently to make sure every cabin is thoroughly cleaned and sanitized before the next guest arrives. The room stewards go through each cabin in just a few hours, changing the linens, scrubbing the bathroom, vacuuming, and wiping down all surfaces to make sure everything is fresh and ready for the next passengers. Even though your cabin was recently occupied, you can feel confident that it has been properly cleaned. If you ever have concerns, you can ask your room steward for extra sanitizing wipes or request fresh bedding. While it might seem strange to think about how many people have stayed in your room before you, cruise lines are experts at turning over cabins quickly while keeping them spotless for each new set of travelers. Number 13. Cruise ship beds are actually two twin mattresses zipped together. When booking your cruise, you are usually asked whether you prefer one queen bed or two twin beds in your cabin. However, what many people don't realize is that all cruise ship beds start as two separate twin mattresses. Instead of having a traditional queen-size mattress, the cruise simply zips two twin beds together and covers them with a large mattress pad and fitted sheet to create the illusion of a single bed. This setup makes it easy to adjust the sleeping arrangements based on the needs of different guests. If you're traveling as a couple, the beds will be combined into one. But if you're cruising with a friend or family member and prefer separate sleeping spaces, the room steward can quickly unzip and separate the mattresses to create two twin beds instead. If you arrive at your cabin and find that the bed isn't set up the way you want, you don't need to move anything yourself. Simply let your room steward know, and they will rearrange the beds in just a few minutes. This flexible setup is one of the many ways cruise ships maximize space and accommodate different types of travelers. Number 14. Older cruise ships have very few power outlets. If you're sailing on a newer cruise ship, you'll likely find plenty of power outlets and even USB charging ports conveniently placed around the cabin. However, if you're on an older ship, especially one built more than 10 to 15 years ago, you might be surprised to find that there are only one or two outlets available for the entire room. This can be frustrating when you need to charge multiple devices like phones, tablets, cameras, and laptops all at once. To work around this, many experienced cruisers bring a power adapter that allows multiple devices to charge from a single outlet. However, it's important to note that surge-protected power strips are not allowed on cruise ships because they can interfere with the ship's electrical system. Instead, look for a cruise-approved power strip that does not have surge protection. Some travelers also bring a small USB hub to charge multiple devices without taking up too much outlet space. If your cabin has a limited number of outlets, you can also take advantage of other charging spots around the ship. Many lounges, coffee bars, and even some seating areas in public spaces have USB ports or extra outlets where you can plug in your devices. Before your cruise, it's a good idea to check your ship's age and see if it has been recently refurbished. Many cruise lines are updating older ships with more modern amenities, including additional outlets and charging stations. But if you're on a ship that hasn't been upgraded yet, it's best to come prepared with a cruise-friendly power adapter so you're not stuck waiting to charge your devices one at a time. Number 15. Test your cabin features early in your trip. When you first step into your cruise cabin, it's tempting to drop your bags and head out to explore the ship. But before you get too comfortable, it's a good idea to test everything in your room to make sure it's working the way you expect. Taking a few minutes to check the key features early on can save you frustration later in your trip. Start by testing the air conditioning and thermostat to see if adjusting it actually changes the temperature. If the room feels too warm or too cold and the controls don't seem to do anything, you may need to ask your room steward for assistance. Next, check the lights and switches, especially the ones near the bed. Some cabins have multiple switches that control the same lights, and it's helpful to know which ones do what, so you don't accidentally turn on the bright overhead lights when you meant to switch on a reading lamp. You'll also want to locate the power outlets and test if they work. On older ships, there may only be 1 or 2 outlets in the entire cabin, so if you need to charge multiple devices, you might need a non-surge protected power adapter. If you have a mini fridge, open it up and check how cold it gets. Some fridges only keep items cool rather than truly cold, so if you need ice, you can ask your room steward for a bucket. It's also a good idea to inspect the bathroom to ensure the toilet flushes properly and that there's enough water pressure in the shower. If something seems off, like a clogged drain or a broken fixture, it's better to report it to guest services on the first day so it can be fixed quickly. By taking a few minutes to test your cabin's features early, you'll avoid surprises later and ensure a smoother, more comfortable stay throughout your cruise. Watch this video next for more cruise tips.